welcome to today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a returning subscriber, holla. Thank you so much for returning. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that next time you're going to be a returning subscriber. Right, my name is Jackie, and this is The Talk with Jackie. And today I am on another let's say the second episode of story time where we are talking about the causes of depression. Last time, my previous video was about losing a parent as one of the causes of depression, and I had titled it as the story time and talking about Amanda's story. So, if you're new and you're wondering who is Amanda, so Amanda is just a character that we made up because I just had a conversation with a few individuals where we were talking about depression, and they started sharing their stories about how they grew up and things that happened to them that they believe that they later on led them into depression. So they didn't get depression soon as these things were happening, but however, later on, it then everything that had piled up inside of them with everything that had happened with them, it then ended up uh, they broke down. Let's just say they broke down, and then they got into depression. So anyway, today we are going to be talking about being raised by different people. So this is still Amanda's story. So Amanda, the last time we were talking that she lost a parent. So if you lose a parent, most of us know that sometimes our parents, they can't be there to stay with us and to raise us. So this is the case that was with Amanda. Her dad was not around to stay with her or to raise her, so her dad had to let her stay with other people, be raised by other people, family members, by the way. He didn't have a house, so Amanda had to keep moving from one house to another. If you know, family always has problems. If anything happens in this house, and her dad ends up moving her to another house, and yeah. So today we're going to be talking about what that did to her. Her being moved from staying in this house to that house, living with different people who have different characters. So, um, the first point that she told me was that moving from one home to another, or from one guardian to another guardian, it made her to lose a sense of belonging. She she felt like she didn't have no one. She felt like she didn't have a home. She felt like she didn't have a family at all. Because the moment she was beginning to build a bond with a certain guardian, she's moved to another. Um, so you have to start again to study the person. People are different. People have different characters. People have different preferences. So you live with one person, you start to understand them that, okay, if I wake up, they want me to fix my bed. Immediately when I wake up, before I do anything, I have to fix my bed. And you go to another person, the other person just doesn't care whether you fix your bed or you don't fix your bed. You wake up in the morning, before you get in the kitchen, one person wants you to go and take a shower, you wants you to go and brush your teeth, or wants you to just go and wash your face and brush your teeth only. And another person just doesn't care. Another person needs you immediately when you wake up, you get in the kitchen, or another person needs you to wake up and wash your face, brush your teeth, and then you can do your chores. People are just different. People have different preferences. Now, speaking of her being moved from one garden to another, from one house to another, you know what they say, that when you get to Rome, you do what Romans do. So she had to constantly do that. She had to constantly get to Rome and do what the Romans do. She never had to feel like she belonged in that place. By the time she starts to feel like I belong, making friends around her, making friends in the place that she was living in, all of that was taken away from her. So at the end of the day, she ended up losing the sense of, where exactly do I belong? Who is my family? Who are my friends? Which community do I belong to? Um, As a Christian, also, I would point that she went to different churches because of that. Because you get into one house and they're attending um, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me not name churches, but anyway, you get into one house, they are going to a certain church, and you go to the other one, they're going to a certain church. So you have to be changing constantly, changing your friends, changing your church, changing your school, changing the people that are around you, changing the community you live in. So it was just too much for her growing up, minding that she was still young. She didn't know. When you are a child, you need to belong. When you are young, you need to feel that this is where I belong, and the people that are around me, I am safe in this environment. I am safe to be here. I'm a teacher, so I have noticed what moving a child could do. Moving a child from one place to another, or just having a certain change in the home, it just devastates them. It just changes them somehow. It breaks them down. So this is what she had to go through when she was growing up. But however, she didn't have anyone that she could talk to or explain that, you know what, I'm tired, or even tell her dad that I'm tired of moving from one house to another. I don't want to go anywhere anymore. I just want to stay in one place, make a family in one place. She couldn't, because she would also look at her dad and see that he's trying the best he could do. You know, he really didn't he really didn't have anything that he could do. He wished he could do better, but he couldn't. He was a single parent and raising a girl for that matter. So for him, that was the best he could do. He trusted his family, he trusted his siblings, so that's why he thought Amanda is safe to be moving around. But then, after some time, a person shows you their true colors, and then you feel like my child is not safe, and then you move the child. So anyway, that was what happened to Amanda. She was moved to different places, and she ended up feeling lost, feeling like she didn't belong. She didn't have a family. She couldn't make friends. If she makes these friends, she moves. She has to start again to make friends. That wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And moving from one house to another, that means you're probably going to change schools. Depending on whether you are moving from one city to another, so you definitely have to change schools. So this is what happened with Amanda, because wherever she was being moved, it wasn't like, you move to this, family members, they don't just all come and live in one city. They are scattered everywhere. So, excuse me. So she was moved from one city to another, which means that she had to change schools. She had to go from this school to another. You start understanding, excuse me, you start learning about the place again. You start making new friends at school and in the community. You start trying to understand your teachers again, trying to build a bond with your teachers again. And also for you, try to understand how the teachers are doing, and for you to pick up from where you left from the school you're coming from, um, to the school that you are in now. That also disturbed her in her studies, because you can get to another school and you find that they're reading a certain book and they're in chapter 5, whereas where you come from, they were just in chapter 1. So you just feel like, okay, so I've lost so much. You try to catch up. By the time you try to catch up, they are moving forward. They are not waiting for you. So it disturbed her studies. And also, we have different ways of understanding. You get to have a teacher that you understand how they are teaching you. You get to have a teacher that you understand how they teach, and then you move. I remember when I was in my form 4, um yeah, when I was doing my O level, I had to write one subject that I won't say which one. I had to write it in June, not because I thought I knew it better, or that I thought that, I've gathered all the facts about the subject and I'm ready, but only because I just didn't understand the teacher. I just needed to get it done and move on. Leave this teacher teaching the others and I move on. So you get to have a teacher that you really understand how they are teaching. If you understand the teacher and how they are teaching, you excel in that subject. That's a fact. You excel in that subject because you love the teacher, you love the way they are teaching. But however, if you are in a class where you don't understand the teacher and you don't like the teacher, you fail. So imagine how of course she definitely wouldn't have loved all the teachers that she went through. And beside thinking that you are bitter that you just got moved. You just don't like anybody. You just feel like I just want to be myself. Okay. And you end up giving up on trying to understand people that are around you because you're thinking, oh well, I'm gonna be moving anyway, you know. So that disturbed her studies and it made her look like she was a dumb girl growing up, as if she wasn't smart enough. Whereas she was a very smart girl. She was a very smart girl, but the fact that she keeps on moving from one school to another, from this teacher to the other teacher to the other teacher, trying to make friends, trying to balance everything that was around her, making friends, understanding the people in the society, understanding the family that she has moved to stay with, and just understanding her books. It just got to be too much for her as a young girl. So therefore she looked like a dumb girl, but she wasn't. She was an intelligent girl, a smart girl. And also moving from one place to another, it made her lose some opportunities in extracurricular activities that would be happening around the school. You know, some schools, they provide tennis, swimming, um, um, football, netball, hockey, you know, all those type of sports. And some schools, they don't. So you get to one school and they're playing tennis and you get to like it, you know, and you probably at a phase where they believe that you can, you know, you can really do good in that kind of sport. And there are opportunities you have to go and play with other, against other schools, against other regions, and you know, you get to be seen out there. But then you get moved. By the time that is supposed to happen, you get moved. So she explained that she lost some opportunities in some extracurricular activities, debate, and you know, all those kind of things, because she was being moved from one place to another. And because of that also, she made her to end up not knowing what does she like. Does she like to play sports? Does she like to just do literature? Does she like to do debates? So she was now confused on what exactly is she passionate about. What is it that she likes? What is it that she doesn't? Because she got to one place and she likes this. She's still young. She's still trying to figure it out. So you get to one place, you find that they have a debate club and you find that you love debate. You move to another school, there is no debate. But however, they have chess and you like chess. And you move to another school, they don't have debate, they don't have chess, so you have to go and play maybe tennis. And she figured, I love tennis. But now she was confused. What is it exactly that I want? What is it exactly that I like? You know, so this was all because she was being moved from one place to another. This was all because she lost a mom and now her dad didn't know what to do. He had to um, ask other people to help him to raise Amanda. So Amanda was now being moved from one home to another, right? Because you get to one home, everything is fine. After some time, the dad figured it's not good here for my child, and then you are moved, you know. So all this was just too much on a small girl who was just growing up trying to figure herself out. It just disturbed her her development. It disturbed how she was growing because she couldn't figure out anything because she'll be moved from one place to another. And as you moved as she was being moved from one house to another, she was living with different families. Some of the families, they it was parents with their own kids, and some of the kids, probably there was one place where there was another girl who was almost her age. And she explained that during her stay there, what hurt the most, what broke her the most, is that she wasn't loved for who she was, but she was constantly hated for who she was not, constantly blamed for what she couldn't do, but never applauded for what she could do. You know, some stepmothers are good, some stepmothers are not. So here it was the same situation. Of course, it wasn't her mother or her father's wife, but if you have a woman figure in your life, you can call them a guardian or it's a mother, right? So because this woman that was staying with her at this point in time had another child who is a girl who is almost her age, she constantly compared the two of them. And obviously, her own child would win in whatever competition she would be having in her mind. So Amanda was always blamed for things that she probably didn't do, or she would not get certain things in the house for her because they had to be given to the other child. Or even when her father had to send in some stuff, she wouldn't get it and she wouldn't even be told that it came. Um, because there was another child who was almost her age. So being compared from one person from to another person, sorry, being compared to another person, it made her to end up being unsure about herself. That am I capable of doing this? Am I able to do that? Will I be able to accomplish this? She was unsure. She lost her confidence in herself because also she ended up thinking that, you know what, she's probably better than I am. She can do it better than I can. She can play sports better than I can. She can study better than I can. She can do the house chores better than I can. You know, everything that that she was being told that she cannot do. It was said to her over and over and over again that it got stuck in her mind, and it made her to end up thinking that, oh, I really cannot do this. You know, she didn't believe in herself anymore. She couldn't believe in herself because even if she tried, no matter how much she tried, no matter how hard she would try to study, when you are studying, then you'll be told that you will never be as good as um, the other one. So she was being told all those kind of words, and those words were breaking her bit by bit. But she was a child. What could she have done? Who could she have told? She has no mother, and some things you just feel, I can't tell my dad. You're just trying to keep the peace in the family. Um, so that stayed with her not only at that time when she was living with them, but it moved on with her. As she moved on with her life, moving to another home, it just stayed in her that I'm not capable of doing certain things in my life. I will never be. I'm not good enough. Those kind of things, even as an adult now, it just not good for you to end up thinking that I'll never be good enough. Because we are all good enough in our own ways. The only problem is that we end up comparing ourselves with other people. We must always remind ourselves that I am not the other person. I am me. The only person I am in competition with is myself, not anybody else. Everybody else, they live in their lives, they have their own destinies, and I have mine. I am living the pace that I'm supposed to be living in. Okay? She forgot to remind herself that, you know what, I am nothing compared to this other girl. She has a mom. She's been living in the same house from the day she was born until now. But I don't have a mom. I've been moving from one family to another. I'm just trying to figure it all out. But she has it figured out. Her mom has her, and her mom has got her. Her mom helps her to figure it out. I have nobody to help me figure it out. She forgot all that. But the only thing that was stuck in her was, I am not good enough. I cannot accomplish that. I cannot do it. I'll never reach so and so's level. It's not about that, but she forgot about it. So all that is inside of her. She's still growing up. Okay? It's still stuck inside of her, and she's still growing up with that kind of mentality that I am not good enough. So later on, when she was grown, all these things they happen in your life, and you start remembering what you went through, what she suffered, what was said, what was not said. You know, it wasn't always about what was said, it was also about what was not said. Listening to a mother telling her child that I love you, you are the best, and you're doing great. I can see your effort. I recognize you. I can see you trying. And no one says it to you. That is as bad enough as having someone tell you that you're not good enough. It's just as bad enough as that. So it was for Amanda, it wasn't just about the words that were said. It was also about the words that were not said. The conversations that were never held. The hugs she never got. The goodnight kisses she never got. The breakfast meals made by a mother that she never got. It was about the things that were not done that were supposed to, and the things that were done that were not supposed to be done. And so her moving from one house to another, from one family to another, she ended up not knowing who she was anymore. Whether she was a strong girl who could do whatever that she puts her mind to, or she was a girl who was not good enough. She knew, I come from a family. I have my dad. But where was he? Some points she forgot that her dad is trying. She forgot that her dad is doing the best that he could. And she felt like she was abandoned, like she had nobody, like she was just this orphan that nobody cared about, that nobody wanted. Because sometimes she wouldn't understand the reasons why she's being moved from one house to another. So she'll feel unwanted, feels like, well, nobody cares. Nobody wants me in their house. Nobody wants me in their family. I have no mother, and my father is busy doing other things. He's not giving me attention. So her life was tough as a young girl. A life that nobody should live. A life that was hard for a little girl. It was hard for a little girl. But however, that was her life, and that is how she grew up, without a parent, and being moved from one house to another, from this family to the other family. She had to constantly learn about herself, learn about the people around her, learn about the environment she was in. But she was still young, very young to go through it, around her primary school ages. So life was tough. But anywho, that was all today. That was all today about Amanda's story, being raised by other people, being raised by different people, different families. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to like, comment, and share. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe down below and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss any episode that will be coming up. I still have more episodes about Amanda's story, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to love them. So thank you so much for tuning in. That'll be it from Jackie. Bye for now.